When I first started fishing around here, there was 7 or 8 fishermen that I knew. Now they're all gone.
My dad, when he taught me, he said I'd be one of the last. I laughed because I knew at least 10 or 20 at the time. He said, Dad, there's still plenty of us. I said, no, it's not being passed on.
There's so many things that people know that when they pass on, it goes with them. And this is something that not everybody knows.
My gut tells me that it may die. It bothers me to think too deep in it. Well, I grew up on the river, 4th generation, net making and fishing. We learned it because it was taught into us. This was Dad's. He made this. I believe it was a paint stirrer stick when it originally started. He said he needed to pass on net making. You wanted to watch TV on Saturday mornings, so you went to the TV and you would open the door and you'd pull your nets out, and there you would start tying knots. And you could stay there till noon. And of course I have Granddad's from the 1920s. It's a coat hanger with a nail brazed in the middle. During the Depression, you could live on a houseboat and not pay taxes. The Wabash had 400, the White had 200, but that didn't provide your food. So there they started developing, the rivermen got their net families brought up from the oceans, and they developed the river nets. Before then, it was just using wooden traps. With the progressing of the nets, made them much lighter, easier to repair, easier to move in and out in different places.
Your early fishermen were very secretive about how they made their nets. This right here is what I call the barrel of the net, the outside mash. This funnel in here is the throat. They're laying on the bottom of the river. The fish come in here. This is called the starter throat. It starts them up in the other throat. Once they get up in the other end, they're caught, they can't get out. 40 years ago, a friend of mine obtained some nets, and being the smart people that we were at the time, we just took them out there and dropped them in the river, and we never caught any fish. The following year, I met Jim Cooper, and Jim was rather blunt. He told me, he said, well, you stupid fool, you're fishing the wrong place. And he started then teaching me where to fish. Eventually, I was an apprentice to him to make nets. We're getting ready to start our throats. You let that string hang down what you think how long the throat's gonna be. And you tie a knot. I make all my own needles. Most of them are 8 to 10 inches long, just under an inch wide. Then I make what I call a block or gauge. That's how you get your webbing the right size. This is an 1 5/8 block. It's from the center of one knot to the center of the next knot. That's how they measure it. It gives you your mesh size. There's quite a bit of math comes in it. You have to figure out what size net you want to make.
A regular circle net only has about, what we call a barrel net, only has about roughly 6 inches to a foot that actually sits on the bottom. Well, most fish have their head down looking for food along the bottom. So if they come up to this round surface and they come up to the side of it, they may miss it altogether. But what if you had 5 feet on the bottom? We have a family crafted net called an oval net. We designed them for rocky bottoms. In swift water, this net will shake back and forth, and it will cut the string on the rocks, where an oval doesn't rock. The hoop making machine here, made by a man by the name of a master net maker by Jim Parrish. He fished the Wabash. And when he died, he willed it to me. I'll use clear resin, mix it with a hardener, and I'll run through the trough. The resin will go here. I have 3 barrels of cord fiberglass. I just use a little bit of PAM. Makes it easier to come out. And as it spins, it drops in it. Then once it gets full to the top of the middle, I just move it over. And you just have to sand it all out. You'll wear a complete little dust suit. You'll want to sand it on a very windy day that it's blowing away from you.
Oh, Duke, where's the end? I make my own hoops. It's a stainless steel wire, it's 1/4 inch, and I put a rope on it. You know what you're doing is, because it will hit you in the back of the head. Now we got a circle. What the rope does, keeps from wearing the string out on the hoops so fast. If it's laying on a rock or a log, sits there and vibrates, it'll cut that string. The reason we tire the net is to protect it. The fish don't get tangled up in the strings as bad. And by it being dark, they think they're going into a log or something like this, where they can see through it and they'll go in.
You know, I remember sitting on the riverbank in the dark with 12 other guys, and as a kid sitting there with Dad, Dad said, "Be quiet, don't move, make a sound." I said, "Dad, there's a boat coming up the river. And it's got a lantern in the front. That's what we're waiting on. Someone's been helping herself to run our nets." Needless to say, there was a bunch of hollering going on, some guys swimming to the other side. And Dad says, "Most of the time, Larry, we don't mind if someone helps herself and takes some fish out of our nets. As long as they lay the net correctly, that'll still catch fish."
People stealing nets are a sore subject with me. I can speculate on who it is, what kind of fisherman it is, but I go out there and find my net gone. The way I look at it, someone steals one of my net, they're taking $300 out of my pocket. I lost 10 one year.
The river's nothing but a highway, one direction. Live ones go up and dead ones go down. That's because of the current. If he goes downriver, it'll clog his gills up and he'll drown. Dad would take me and my brother up to the sandbar during the summer, and we would clean the boats, and we would check our nets and repair them in the boat, and he would take us out in the front of the sandbar and hold us and let us feel the current, how it pull us, which way to pull us. One year I went to get my license, and the DNR tells me I can't sell fish. And I looked at him, "Well, what do you mean I can't sell fish? Why are you selling me a commercial license?" And, "Well, you have to go through the health department rules." It was a great conversation, very depressed afterwards. So I had to find a different way, because I wasn't jumping through all the hoops, but I still had customers. I found a way. I sell my fish alive, and then they hire me to process it. "30 years ago, I caught fish there was a market. Place uptown would buy the fish. They processed it up right there on the spot, sold it. Everybody in the town knew who the fisherman was. I've never sold fish in the last 10 years to anybody under 40. It's only the older crowd that does it. Their newer crowd, I get it from the store."
Back then, it was nothing to catch 30 to 40 pound in a net, in every net. Now I do good catch 30 to 40 pounds when I go out. I try to keep it down to 4 to 6, around 6 nets. The law requires me to check them every 48 hours. You have to go out every 48 hours and pull the net up, dump the fish out of it, sort them, because some of them I can't keep. I think there's right at 30 species of fish in Indiana that I cannot keep. I cannot keep a catfish less than 13 inches. But I'm after the catfish and the buffalo. Everything else goes back in the water. That's the most fish I've caught in 2 weeks.
Really?
Yeah. Feels good. It's, hey man, I did pretty good on this, and I caught 40 pounds of fish in this net. Last year went out there, 3 of us in the boat, we caught 450 pounds of fish in the boat. Okay, we were excited. We were out of this world till it dawned on us. We got clean 450 pound of fish today, boys.
The riverbanks are washing away. You would think the tree limbs and everything would help keep the banks from washing away. It's not, it's washing in behind them, so now we have more in there. So the river is not getting deeper where we need it to be, it's getting shallower.
The river never changes its length. So if it cuts across the corner here, like it did up at Grayville, it lengthened someplace else.
With the Asian carp problem the way it is, a lot of us are holding off. They eat the same thing kind of food, plankton and krill, as the catfish do. So they're species against each other. And they're winning because we can't stop them. The way it was told to me, the DNR says, you guys are just gonna have to change and start eating the Asian carp. There's pure white meat, and they got a really good taste. But they have a bone in there that's like this. You can't hardly pick the meat out of that bone.
It aggravates me they don't want them in Lake Michigan because of the commercial business up there. I'm in a commercial business too. They don't care about me. So if I could, I'd take a truckload up there. Say, here, have my problem.
These fish only move when they spawn. That's why they jump. They're looking somewhere to jump over, like a log, or somewhere so they can lay their eggs.
You're running down the river, 50-pound fish jump up and hit you. Believe me, it hurts.
They killed a man, knocked him out of the boat, and he drowned. Right now, the Asian carp are still pretty fat, so there's still plenty of food in the river. When it comes to the point that the Asian carp are starving, we won't be able to hardly find the other fish either.
They are plankton eaters. It's a little bitty organism we can't see, but all your baby fish eat this. The feed's not there, they don't survive.
So most of the fishermen right now are not fishing because mostly they're catching is Asian carp. There's not a whole lot of us left anyway. My dad said I would be one of the last master net makers. I don't like that, but he was right.
It's a dying art. When I finish this net, I take it out there and put it in the water. And I can't tell you right now if this net's any good, but I go out there and I pull in fish in it. I've accomplished something. I've made something that works and works good.
To pass net making on, you have to understand the true meaning of love. It's time. My 3-foot smallest net has 7,662 knots in it. I asked my oldest son, I said, did you count them silly things? He said, no, but I can calculate them with a calculator. I said, son, if I probably counted them, I probably wouldn't do it.
If I can pass it on to one person that will teach one person, I have accomplished my goal.